And we're live. I'm here with Will Currie. Will, thank you for joining me.
Hey, thank you for having me.
And you're joining from Sweden, right?
Yes, I'm in Stockholm at the moment at the
Tell
All
us
Stars.
about fight camp out in All Stars.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I've been coming here since sort of post my last fight, really, December, January. I'm here for 5 weeks before the fight. 2 weeks before the fight, I'll come home. But yeah, just getting the main crunch time, which is now at the gym, so that's good.
You've trained out at All Stars before, though, haven't you? I'm sure I've seen you training out there before.
Yes, I have. I started training there originally when I was like 17, 18 as a visit. And then I would go once or twice a year from that point onwards. Around 22 was my last visit. I haven't been for a while. I have a friend who lives here round the corner, and I'm staying at his. So that's what makes it viable for me to be able to go to the gym and train. Whereas before I was at a hotel, and yeah, it was a bit more expensive, you know.
Sweden's
Right.
pretty expensive anyway, isn't it?
Exactly. So imagine paying for a hotel on top of it. So my friend helps me out a lot by letting me stay at his. He's
Yeah.
a good fighter, Mucho. He's going to be coming up in the game soon. He had his first amateur fight in Cage Warriors Academy. He'll be fighting again soon. He's good.
Amazing. And how else has training been out there? Have you been enjoying it? Something different?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, it's I've always enjoyed All Stars for the reason of it's got a very good regimen. It's like a village. You know, the whole quote of it takes a village to make a man kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like you've got a lot of bodies, a lot of different people coming through. They have a regiment, they have a 10 a.m. schedule where you're there. There's training before that if you want that. There's a competitive energy to training, like want to see who works the hardest kind of thing. And
Yeah.
basically I'm 5 minutes from the gym. There's no traveling, so it makes life very efficient. All you're doing is training, working hard, getting better. So I enjoy that. And Sweden also, to live here, it's healthy. You know, the air is very
Yeah.
clean out here. The water is very good to drink. It's much better. I prefer it. And just living here, I really like it.
Yeah, it is a beautiful country, lovely people. I think it's an amazing place.
Yes.
So I'm glad you're enjoying camp. If you can call it enjoying camp, I'm sure it's painful and
Well, it is when you come to this regiment. I promise you that.
so how many
Uh,
hours are you doing a day?
Well, if I'm being truthful, the last few days I've had a bug. There was a bug that went into the gym. Someone came back from Thailand and brought it back. So I don't know what happened there. Raphael, another great fighter coming up. He's the Cage Warriors Academy amateur champion at middleweight. Very, very good fighter. You know, amazing fighter. So you'll be hearing more about him. Raphael Kvedstad. Hope I didn't butcher his last name. Yeah, he gave me a little bug the last few days. The last few days I haven't been training. Me and my roommate as well. He's also had a little bug, but before that, yeah, I mean, twice, 3 times a day, and pushing it very, very hard. And I reckon that's also why I got ill.
Yeah,
So pushing
that
it very, very hard.
in hand with the weight cut there. So let's talk about the fight. I'm so excited that you're back on Cage Warriors London. I love having you on that card. I get
I
so
love being on
excited
it.
when you're matched. And you're fighting Leon Aliu, who
Yeah.
we know from he KO'd James Webb in Colchester that time. He's lost on Contenders since then, so he obviously very close to the UFC himself. And then he lost to the dentist, Darren Stewart, before getting back in the win column last time around. So, tell me what you make of him as a fighter and what you've taken from any of those fights, if you've looked at him and tried to break him down.
Yeah, I mean, I've studied his game. Most of a threat. I've prepared for those things.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I mean, he's definitely a tough game guy. You know, he's fought good competition. Just don't think he's been as active as me.
Yeah.
I think if you look at the activity that I've had over the last few years. I've been very active. I've been like a racehorse. You know, I've just been consistently getting in there, competing against good opposition as well. So it's nothing new to me to fight someone who's a solid opponent. It's just standard. If anything, I'd say I've fought tougher opposition in my past. So um, I'm only getting better. I've got more and more experience. I'm very active. Win, lose or draw, I just fight. It's like a regiment for me. I have to fight. It's like a therapy. So
Do you
I look
believe
at
that?
it.
Obviously, Volk said that after his second loss to
Mm,
Islam. Do you feel the same, that it's, something you have to do to kind of quiet your mind, and it is therapy in a way?
but yeah, literally, it's just a drug. If you think about it, it's its own form of I don't know what you'd call it. It's like the day itself, the event, the process going up to it. I just enjoy it. It gives you your life a purpose. You know, I feel like a lot of time people don't really feel like they have purpose. They just do because
Mm.
they have to. Whereas I do it really because I want to. It's something where I've been looking up to fighters growing up and idolizing them and thinking in my mind, oh, I'd want to be like that. You know,
Yeah.
if I could be something. You know, so it's fun. It's like you're in a movie. It's like you're in your own little game, and I
So on
enjoy
the
the
day, do you think you
lifestyle.
have the same feelings as other people and you just enjoy those feelings? Or do you think you're having, it's hard to know, I guess, to know exactly what other people are feeling, but some people, like Cowboy used to be so nervous that he'd be being sick, and like there's some people who have to just listen to music or try and go to sleep, like they need to be away from people. What is
Mm.
it? What are you feeling, and what is it that you're enjoying about that moment?
Well, if you've prepared well, then it's like Ilya Taporia against Volkanovski. You know, he knew he was going to win. Even if you said you're not going to, he believed otherwise. He knew he was
Yeah.
going to win. That's all due to preparation. So, you know, it's like a test. If you don't prepare well, I think you're going to be nervous. I think you're going to be worried. I think you're going to be stressed out. But if you prepare diligently and you know exactly what you're trying to do in there, and you've got a game plan, because you know there's two options: there's shit your pants, or there's what do I have to do? What's the frame right now? What's the best move on the chessboard? And it's two mind frames, and whatever the mind frame is, you know, I always try to be what's the next move on the chessboard,
Mm,
you know, and that's how I fight. You know, no matter what, you never know what can happen in there. You
yeah.
might be on your ass in the next second. You know, you just always have to whatever I can do next is the best move right now,
And
and
are you
that's
still
literally it.
enjoying that when you come up against adversity in a fight? Are you still enjoying that moment, or like in your head, you're just planning the next move? You're planning how you're going to escape or react, or
For example, when Shamu hit me, like I remember in my head having a conversation with myself, just saying, "You idiot!" Like, you know what I mean? But you're still trying to not get hit with the next follow-up shots, and you know, it's a state of you want the flawless victory, but at the end of the day, if for whatever reason flawless is not what it is, you've just got to keep going. You know, what are you
yeah,
gonna do? Quit? So you know, that's my style. My name's Will, and I've got a lot of will. So that's one of my strengths in a fight. I don't really stop. You have to take
yeah.
me out.
I do think your mindset is one of your most powerful assets, and I'm just always fascinated to talk to you about it, because I think you've got such a different approach to so many other fighters.
Mm, thank you. I appreciate that. you talked to a few fighters, so I'll definitely take that as a compliment.
So the belt at the moment, I don't know how important the belt is to you at Cage Warriors. There's a lot of people who go to the UFC without the belt. Is it something that's important to you to win before you go?
It's not something where it's like, oh, it's the end of the world if I don't have it. It's not something where I'd be, you know, I want truly I want money.
Yeah,
That's what I want. I don't care about a gold belt. I just want money. And then from getting money, I want to invest in myself, make myself even better at fighting to make more money. And then who knows what, but that's really what I want. As for the belt, I've been told if I finish Leon, you know, I can be looking at something with those 3 letters coming up next if I finish him. Not a decision. I've been told if I stop him, I could be going somewhere next. So that's my objective right now. That's all I'm
And
thinking
is that
about.
from your management?
Yes.
And who is your manager? Is it Graham?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So a win by decision, you're probably fighting for the title next. A win by a finish, and you're going to be off to the UFC.
Has to
How
be
does that
stylish though.
feel?
It can't just be some crappy finish. Has to be a good finish. Be a clean finish, not just some terrible performance. No, that's how it works. This sport, you have to have a good performance. If you don't have a good performance, you don't have any bargaining power. You don't have anything. This is your art. It needs to
Yeah.
be a good performance. So I want to have a really nice looking fight, look good, look like there's not a lot of holes in my game. So what that the footage shows,
Yeah.
put a finish on him, and then say July there's London coming. Let's actually get a London guy on that fucking card. Let's try and actually get someone from London on the UFC London card because
Is it going to
I'm
be in
here.
London? Do you know something we don't? Is it definitely in London?
I don't know. I'll just make it up. Hopefully they just make one happen. I don't know. But
I've
yeah,
heard rumours there's going to be a UK card in the summer, but
I think
I
there
didn't
might be.
know it was going to be in London. That's insider information, Will.
No,
You
it might not even be. It might be Manchester, and in which case I'll just be like, "Oh, I'm not from Manchester. Get me on it."
but you'd
I'll
still
fake a
be
Manchester accent.
you'd still be a guy from England. I think Dana thinks, like everyone from the UK is from the same area anyway. So, like, you'd still be the hometown guy for him on a Manchester card. Don't worry.
Good.
I don't even know what is going on with the belt at Cage Warriors anyway. Is
Yeah, I know. Who's he
Belandi
defending it
signed?
against? You know
Is
what I mean?
is
I thought maybe Stewart would be fighting him.
is it so? Is Belandi on a? He's still on a contract with Cage Warriors.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, for anyone who didn't know that Mick Stanton lost the belt to him, and Mick Stanton's now fighting at Octagon. Um, so yeah, strange. Maybe he's not ready to fight. Maybe he's not fit.
Mm, could
I
be.
really thought that you were going to be fighting for the title, but I'm glad to know you don't have to hang around for that fight. If this
If I
one,
wasn't told, if I wasn't told you finished Leon, I would have been calling for the belt.
yeah, no, that's fair enough. And I also wanted to talk to you about the middleweight division in the UFC. This would be the division that you would be moving into, and it's so open at the moment. And I don't know what you think about the people at the top right now. So Dracus du Plessis that won the belt from Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland had been the champ. He won it off Adesanya. We don't know when Adesanya is coming back. Robert Whittaker obviously just beat Costa. What do you think of those guys, and how do you think you match up? Like, that's the absolute upper echelon of that division.
Well, that's the top of the sport. I mean, you got Johnny Eblen in Bellator. He's fighting the PFL Bellator matchup, isn't he? That's
Yeah,
obviously different promotions, but the middleweight
yeah,
division I think is a really really good division. I think the division's got very strong. You're not even talking about these guys coming up that we already know of. For example, Bo Nickel.
yeah.
Um, you've got other guys. There's other names. I mean, Sharaputin. Magomedov, you got tons of names in middleweight. Middleweight is really stacked.
And
Um,
it's just so open, like,
Mm.
and those guys, yeah, it's just I just can't work out what's going to happen next. If I'm honest.
I mean, either. You know what I mean? I don't really see as of right now some standout name. I mean, Hamza, I would say is probably on his night the strongest
Yeah,
if he is to show it. If he's able to get those fights to be able to show it. But other than that, I think the division is. I've got a very well-rounded skill set myself. I feel like with all of them, I can give a fight to all of them. It's just about getting better myself through having a few more fights, getting into the UFC, getting into that bubble, and all the perks that come with that, and that just making me a better fighter, and then competing with them. I would say, to jump in with guys who are living the way they're living right now, making what they're making from a fight, to jump in right now would be foolish. But in terms of beat Leon Aliu, fight a guy, unranked, get build into that UFC stature, I'll be getting to that level very, very soon. Like very, very soon, because I've got the talent. I just need to chip away rather than thinking straight away fighting, Whitaker,
Yeah,
Costa, and all these guys. But there's no doubt about it. I look at these guys and I don't think to myself, this is without reach. Of
yeah.
course, I've trained. This is all I've done. On my
No,
night, I can catch anyone with something. I can do
I
a lot of
think it's
stuff.
one of those. Yeah, of course. It's one of those divisions that I think historically has been a bit more shallow than some of the other divisions, and over the last few years, that's completely changed,
Yep,
and now it's become a bit of a shark
monster.
tank. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's we've not even started seeing, some activity from Hamzat Shamayev. I'm telling you, there's more to show.
Well, you've been training with him, right? So, like, and you still think he's the top of that. So, I mean, that speaks volumes.
He does stuff to light heavyweights, you know. The guy is very, very good. I mean, the Kamaru Usman fight, still won the fight, but it wasn't, the greatest performance. The first round. Who's ever done that? That's what I'm saying. Who's ever done that to Usman? That
Mm,
first round, he took him down every round. Actually, now I remember. I mean, it wasn't as shut out as I thought it could have been. But in terms
yeah,
of in the gym, he's better in the gym. It's better in the gym. But anyway, you know, he's a guy I've looked at since I was 24. I first started seeing, so younger than what I am now. I was 19 when I first trained with him, and I was like, who is this guy? Like, it's just weird the stuff that he was doing. Like, yeah, I'd
yeah,
never seen a fighter doing stuff like that in the gym. I'm talking about a light heavyweight, and he's lifting this guy up, and he's just running across the room, and a top light heavyweight at that, not some light heavyweight, like a top UFC light heavyweight, many of them, not just one guy, one random guy, like multiple. So
mm,
you just start to realize, okay, that's a good fighter there. That's a talented one. Um, that's why I think he's probably going to be a standout, and that's also another reason why I'm at this gym. I think
yeah,
training with that kind of level, it can only get you better if you can survive that level. So
yeah,
there's only, you know I want to taste the highest level of the sport. I believe that's the highest level of the sport. That's just my opinion. So that's only going to get you better when you go against these other levels, and it
yeah.
gets you more used to it. Yeah.
Well, you do have people with too much ego to train against people like that. People who are worried about getting mauled or looking stupid or whatever. In my opinion, the smart thing to do is to view who you think the best in the world is and try and train with that guy.
Mm.
You'd rather be facing it in the gym and know that nothing worse is ever gonna meet you in the cage than it be a shock in the cage.
I could not agree with you more. Yes, that is the best game plan you can prepare for a fight. That's how you know you're going to win, because you just you just know
Yeah.
that level is very, very high. It's very, very rare you're going to find that level. I've never found that level. Never found that level.
Well, Will, I'm so excited for this fight. It's not long now. I feel like March seemed forever away at the beginning of
It felt like a millennium. It's been the longest, weirdest fight camp I've ever had. I've had staph infection like for 6 weeks at one point. I
Oh,
had,
no.
training like on, off. And then I sort of was like, right, well, the fight's ages away, so it's not the end of the world. And then sort of got into like a good little routine here recently. And then just last few days, just a little bit of lurg, but I'm going to be back in the gym, I think, on Monday, and then hitting it ground running for crunch time. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a millennium, it felt at one point.
It really does feel a long time, but the wait is nearly over. We're nearly there. Is
Yeah.
there anything else that you wanted to say or anyone you wanted to shout out or anything before we go?
No, I mean, overall, nice to talk to you, Katie. Always a pleasure. You know, quite impressed with that Topuria win over Volkanovski. That was insane. Um, Impressed by his belief. But yeah, overall, nothing to report. And yeah, thank you for the
Will you
chat.
be watching the UFC tonight? Have you got any winners picked out for tonight?
Well, you know, it's whether or not Brian Ortega can become the Eagle. And we'll see what happens if the rebirth happens. But at the end of the day,
I was a
um,
little bit worried seeing him on the scale. He looked I
mm,
know he always looks quiet, but he hasn't done one for a while. He looked,
I think Yai is going to win this. To be honest with you,
yeah,
it's called
I
it's called it's called activity. It's a bit of the reason why I think I'm going to beat Leon. It's just plain old activity. It's just look at the record. Look at him since 2019, 2018. How many fights he's had, and look how many I've
yeah,
had. That's it. Got
yeah,
to be active. Got to be consistent. Consistency is the key. Even when I didn't feel like I wanted to, like imagine you wake up for a fight and you don't even feel well, but it's your job. You have to fight. So you don't even feel well. Like I had one of those fights. I wasn't even feeling. It's just get in there. It's like that's how it's become in my life now. It's just
yeah.
a routine of 3-4 times a year. You just get in there on that date, and it is what it is.
Somebody once said that to me after a fight. They just said, "I just, uh, I wasn't feeling it. I didn't feel well. I knew that I just couldn't deliver." And I thought, God, I used to feel like that about a run if I went on a run, and the consequences are nowhere near as bad when you're
Imagine you
just
just
going
you
out for a
just
run.
know if this was a training day, I wouldn't go to training today because I feel finished or feel ill or something, and
Yeah,
you got to fight.
yeah,
This is what it is. But then again, I'm sure in the olden days you have a war to fight. Like
yeah,
there it's just what it is. What it is, and this is why it's seen as all stars. It's very strict coaching. You've got to show up. You've got to train. You've got to be there. Where are you? You can't be missing sessions. That's why
yeah,
you have to have a very valid excuse to miss a session because they don't want you having that kind of mentality of
yeah,
I can go. No, you need to be here no matter what kind of
yeah,
mentality because that is the case. If you are on your fight day and you aren't feeling ace of spades, then well, it is what it is. You got to get in there and you got to perform anyway.
yeah,
And that's why they train hard out here. So even if you're -20, you train so hard that you're up here. So even if it's a bit of this, you're still ahead of this. So
yeah.
that's why I like it out here. It's elite training.
Oh, it certainly sounds it. Have a really good end to your camp. Stay healthy and, well, get healthy first and then stay healthy. But I'm really looking forward to seeing you on March 30th.
Thanks, Katie. Love. All the best.
Take
Appreciate it. Yeah.
care. Thank you so much for your time, especially feeling ill.